I'm coming back for another episode of the commercial real estate, and I'm talking about how do you analyze a market. That's what I'm talking about today. Stick around. Hi, welcome back. My name's Joe Brown. I'm a commercial specialist with Century 21, List with Vacancy, located in South Tampa. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So if you've been with me on my YouTube channel, I'm trying, my commitment is at least once a month to do a video just on commercial real estate, because that's an expanding part of my business. So I want to bring value to the viewers, right? So in the past, I've talked about cap rates and what they are and what they aren't. And cap rates are really just a small part, a very quick check of the suitability of a business. The last video I did was about tapestry profiles, looking at the demographics, the psychographics in different areas. Well, today I want to talk about just market analysis in general, whether you're going to start a business, open a business, or looking for a building to rent out. So there are just several different factors, right? So number one, just have to look at the economy overall. So is the city, so we happen to be in Tampa, is the city a growing city? Is there population growth? What are the overall economics, right? Is it economically strong? Is the economy growing? Population growing? All those are factors just at top level to consider opening a business. But then we also want to look at what we'll call submarkets, right? So are we looking the central business district, so like downtown? Are you looking at one of the suburb areas, whether it's Riverview, Wesley Chapel, West Chase, Temple Terrace? So we say Tampa, but when we say Tampa, it's huge area, right? So we have to define what area of town we're actually looking at, and then look at the economic factors in those areas. Is it a shifting population? Is it an aging population? What are the psychographics in those areas? Those are all first level considerations when looking at a property. And listen, there are lots of tools that I use with my commercial business that I have access to, that I can look up this information and break it down by different areas. But then we want to look at what's called the trade area. So again, depending on the type of business you're looking for. If it's a retail business, well, who are your customers? Are they usually within 5 minutes or 15 minutes? When you look at malls or regional malls, right? Sometimes that trade area is a 30-minute drive time. Well, I have access to tools that can say, okay, what's the population within a 5-mile drive time, or a 15-mile drive time, or an hour drive time, right? But we have that capability to see what the population is. How about if your business has a lot of transportation, right? So it's trucking or supply or warehouse. Well, you want access to roads and highways, easy access to roads and highways. Well, that's part of the analysis that goes into selecting the location. See, the point is, it's not always about price. So I might be able to find you a location with a lower price, but it's not very conducive to the operations of your business. Does that make sense? So sometimes you have to pay more for a more efficient operation. But that's also, I want to jump back because one of the considerations is the financial feasibility. So I can find you a location, and let's say the rent is $3,000 a month. Well, how does that $3,000 a month rent fit in with your income and other expenses? Is that $3,000 a month feasible? Right? So, uh, doing market analysis, it's not just the building and the location and the community, but it's also the financial analysis that goes along with it. The You want to look at the market cycles, and I put this out in my monthly newsletters every quarter. There's a group that produces, it's called the market cycle, and Tampa is one of the markets that they track. And so we look at the office market in Tampa or the retail market. So where are we in the cycle? Because most things are in a cycle. So is office in a recovery phase or a recession phase? Are multifamily in a hyper supply stage, or is it in a recovery stage? It's important to know what time in the market, right, for your intended business. So let's say you want to build, and this is really for developers, right? But if you want to build an office space, well, then you look at the market cycle and you see, wait a second, office space is in oversupply, hypersupply, which means typically rents are going to start falling. Well, do you really want to build office space at that time? However, if you see that office space is in recovery and about to go into expansion, yeah, then you do want to build office space. Now, I will say, just because I'm talking office space, Tampa has a dichotomy right now. Class A space, which is new space, is in great demand. Very, very low vacancy in Class A space. Class C space, which are older offices, that's where you have the 18 to 20% vacancy. So in Tampa, the housing market is really a story of the two classes. And going along with market cycle, what's the supply and demand? Is there enough demand for, well, really, if you're a retail operation, is there enough demand for the goods you sell? But is there also enough demand for space? Is there supply? And again, talking about retail space, Tampa retail space vacancy in Tampa is low. So there is a demand for retail space. One thing we also look at is absorption rate. An absorption rate just means how quickly available space is used up, right? It's a measurement. So we can say this month, 20,000 square feet of space was absorbed, means it was taken over and leased. And they look at space that is now vacant and space that has been used up and figure out, okay, what's the net absorption for this month, this quarter, this sector, right? So the absorption rate could be just for office or retail. So we break that down. Again, all these factors go into market analysis. So listen, in this, 10 or 15 minute video, I'm just giving a quick, broad overview. But each one of these goes in depth. This whole discussion, it can be a week-long seminar, okay? So if you have more questions, please reach out to me, okay? You want to look at the financial decisions. I talked about that a little bit before. So what's the rent? Are you able to afford the rent with the other expenses you have? But you also want to look at price compared to, like when you buy a home, the value of your home is based on other homes that have sold. Well, same thing in office. You may look at an office space, but to determine whether that price is really good, you want to compare it to what other offices, what other buildings are selling for, what they're charging for rent, and so forth, right? So that's a financial consideration. You need to find out. So the big overarching question, right, is why do I want space? Why do you want space? Well, what is your intended goal? And then we can work together to find a space that fits the market trends you're looking for, the price range you're looking for, right? So that's why it's important to use a trusted advisor, right? I'm here to help guide you through this process. I have access to a lot of these tools. So listen, I told you this was a quick overview. You just can't look at a building and say, oh, I can afford that, let's buy it. It may not be the best, right? That may not be the best building for your business. In future episodes, I want to talk about due diligence, which goes over some of these factors as well. Anyway, I hope this quick overview wasn't too brief for you. If you have questions, please leave a comment, reach out to me. Let's see if I can help you. I specialize in helping business or building owners sell their property. So listen, if you're considering selling your property, but you're not sure, just reach out to me. Let's have a conversation and we'll see where that takes us, okay? Thank you so much for being here with me today. Until next week, take care.